What up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of From the Soapbox, the podcast that allows me to rant, pontificate, and otherwise speak my mind. And before we get started, let us all remember that we all move in the realm of five. Like, comment, subscribe, notify, share. Those five options, those five different actions, get us stuff out to more people. So do your part and show your love and support. Today doesn't have a topic. Today is going to be one of those random rants that I like to do from time to time just to get stuff off my chest so I can sleep a little bit better at night. And the first thing we're going to talk about is lying. Lying isn't good. Lying is necessary. Not really. But lying is prevalent. It's accepted. And nor is it accepted more than in the dating marketplace. Because men and women lie to each other all the time. And they lie for different reasons, granted. But the bottom line is that they do lie. When most people think of lies, they think of men lying and they think of cheating. And the lies associated with cheating. And while that is truth to that, let us examine the reasons why they lie. They lie when everything is said and done because they don't want to get caught. And that goes back to the simple fact that men are hardwired to spread their seed. There is an innate, subconscious, almost primal urge for the male to spread his seed far and wide in the hopes of it becoming a legacy, for lack of a better term. So he's got that to deal with. And shout out to the great Chris Rock. He said that men are only as faithful as their options. In other words, the more chances he has to step out, the more likely he is to do it. Is that true for everybody? No. There are guys out there who resist temptation and remain faithful. What I'm saying is the more bodies you throw at him, the more chances he has to have sex with other women, the more likely he is to engage in it. And after he's engaged in it, he feels shame, hence the term post-nut clarity. You've done the deed, and your brain is just singularly focused on getting the job done. Must have sex, must have sex, must have sex. Having sex, had sex. Oh no. What have I done? Men are singular in their focus, in their scope, where women are more multifaceted. They can multitask a heck of a lot better than men can. And they have to. especially in modern society with everything that they have to do, yes, they have to be able to juggle more than one thing at the same time. Men don't have that choice, at least not in that aspect. We do one thing, and we tend to do that one thing, and we tend to do it right. Women do many things right. Because, again, biologically, we are wired that way. Women have to do the things that enhance a man's lifestyle. Hence, cooking, cleaning, child rearing, being a sounding board. All those things, plus many, many others that I'm not even thinking about right now, are in women's wheelhouse. And
Yeah, but you're saying if they're short,
and they just tend to do it. What you heard in the background is King Riches. I've been watching more and more of his stuff. Shout out to King Riches. I've been watching more and more of his stuff as of late, and he seldom disappoints. Full disclosure, I don't agree with everything that every content creator says. I have my own mind. I have my own thought process. I have my own beliefs. I have my own viewpoints. And what I tend to do is I'll listen to what's going on. I'll absorb the information. I'll see what, if any, impact it has on my life and act on it accordingly. That is what people should do. In any and every aspect of their lives, they should be able to take what someone says on board, dissect it, marinate on it, for lack of a better word, draw their own conclusions based upon their own beliefs, and then act on it. They should. They don't, but they should. And Mr. King Riches had a show. I was just watching it just before I started this thing, which made me want to do this video. Modern Women Break Rules for Chad and Tyrone. And this ties in very nicely to the lying aspect of the video or of the podcast, because women lie all the time. We're going to go over to the video now. Ha! Got it. We're going to go over to the video. We're going to see what is said, and then we're going to expand upon it, and we'll talk about it and just basically see where we agree, where we disagree. That's just that and the other thing. Here we go.
then they've got small feet, so then they've got small.
Go on.
Can I flip it? Can I flip it though? Can I flip your question? Yeah. What's worse is a guy who's packing that doesn't know what to do with it.
That's what I'm saying.
That's worse.
Okay. We walked in on the video when they're talking about penis size. And doesn't matter. And right now, they're lying. Let's see if we can catch them in the lie.
So on every level.
Yes.
So I'll take no size being an issue every single time. I can't do a guy who's big and doesn't know,
So what have you had?
Do you really? Do you really, young lady? You can't take this. You can't take the size, so it doesn't matter. Because if they're big and they don't know what to do with it, it takes away from it. I would say it does matter. And let's see. I don't know if I've rewound it far enough. We're going to go a little bit further and see if we can catch the lies I'm talking about, at which time I'll stop it and we'll discuss it.
Had that experience, a guy that's, you don't know what he's doing.
It's not cute. So I'd rather a guy who's smaller, who's
what was
more
it that
nimble.
made it? What was it that made it that he didn't know what he was doing? He was just like,
where
his
they
rhythm's
think
off.
it's like where they think the size is the answer. They don't have to do much more. It's like, yeah.
So he's like, just get on top. Yeah. Do your thing. Go on, get yourself off. There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can't do that. We need some rhythm in the hips.
But then I feel like, you see when you're saying size as well.
Talk it to the mic.
If you're when you're speaking,
move the mic so it's like
when you're saying size, there's different types of size as well. You have long, and then you have short, and it's still fat. So if it's short and still fat, isn't that taking up the size of the bigness?
Hey, you told me, fam.
Depends.
I don't know.
Woo. You're talking about size. You're talking about as thick, as little, as thick. No. The question asked was, does size matter? Which means size in its general sense. Big, small, in between. Does it matter what he has? Will that attract? Will it add or subtract from your total experience and pleasure? That's what he's asking. That's all he's asking. He's not asking anything else. Anything else that somebody says is word salad at this point, because it's not addressing the question. Shout out to How to Survive a Podcast, the infrequent podcast that deal with people getting on, enjoying, and being asked back on to be on a podcast. And in that, I very, very distinctly say, be clear, concise, and to the point. Answer the question. That's the first thing. Before anything else is said and done, answer the question. I.e., do you think the sky is blue? It depends. No. You didn't answer the question. So you failed right there. You failed. Because the question is, is the sky or blue? It's binary. Which means there's a logical question with a logical answer. Yes or no. If you say, in this case, yes, it is, the moderator then has the prerogative to say, what do you mean? Explain yourself. To which then you can elaborate. But in the first instance, no, there is no elaboration. Mainly because, and you'll hear this again later, they come up with this later, is that if your answer is wrong, all the elaboration in the world changes nothing. What's wrong is wrong. You can dress up a pig in its Sunday best, and it's still a pig in the end. You can put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. It's a pig with lipstick, but it's still a pig. That's what he's saying. That's what this whole interpersonal dynamic thing is all about, especially in the realm of podcasting and debates and those sort of topics. A question is asked, you answer the question. And that answer should be short, sweet, and to the point. It should be concise. It shouldn't be ambiguous. You should be able to understand exactly what is being said at the time. If the moderator feels that your answer needs further explanation, they'll ask you for it. Then you give it. What do you mean? What do you mean the sky's blue? Explain yourself. Then yes, blah, 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 blah. Then you can go into it, at which time then the moderator can either interject or do whatever he does or whatever he wants to do to further the conversation and flesh out the podcast. But in the first instance, no, answer the question. Let's see what it has to say. Go on, my friend.
Oh, you told me.
But you're asking us the question.
Yeah.
So, like, what size are you talking about? Long,
Whatever
big,
you
short?
like, innit? It's not me taking it, it's you.
That's true.
I know.
Well, then that's why I did say size didn't matter anyway.
Huh?
I said size didn't matter.
All right.
Size didn't matter. Size don't matter. Yes, it does. And I'll tell you why it does. It matters because the more it fills the canal, the more pleasurable it is. In a nutshell, that's what it is. If there is room, if during the stroke the guy doesn't feel the walls, it does him nothing. And if he's doing that and the woman doesn't feel it, she feels cheated. It does nothing. So, yes, it does matter. But when you say it doesn't matter, you are being ambiguous. You are trying to play both sides against each other. You're straddling the fence. And in this instance, it doesn't work because you know the truth. You know the truth. It matters. It matters very much. But you say, no, it doesn't matter. Who's being disingenuous then? Who's being disingenuous? Who's not being truthful? I'm going to give you guys an uncomfortable truth. Shout out to that podcast. The world is binary. And it's binary for the most part. Yes, no. Black, white. Right, wrong. Life is about those choices. And the answers to those choices will shape your life. And nobody ever gets it all right all the time. That's impossible because we are not perfect. In an ideal world, whoops. In an ideal world, you get it right all the time. And you live a very happy and content life. You may argue that that would be boring, but if it was that way, how would you know? You wouldn't know any better. That's why all these arguments about virginity and utopia and stuff, they're all silly because we don't know what it's like. We'll never know what it's like. A woman and a man who have not had intercourse at all get married and have intercourse. That's going to be the best sex they ever had. say that again.
Cool.
Thank you. A woman and a man who have not had sex before.
What do you?
You're getting on my nerves. You're getting on my nerves. A woman and a man who have not had sex before have intercourse for the first time. That's the best sex they've ever had. Why? Because there's nothing else for them to compare it to. That's why it can be said that the first time is always the best time. Because there's no point of reference. There's nothing to compare it to. It's the first time. So when you have sex that first time, that's why you get skyrockets and you get explosions and fireworks and everything else like that, because it's the first time. You never experienced it before. So when you do experience it, wow, it's mind-blowing. And you spend the rest of your life trying to get that first feeling back. Because there's nothing to compare it to. Now, I can't say that somewhere down the line you may get bored of it, this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't take away from what I said in the beginning, that virgins who have sex for the first time have no point of reference. So it is the best that they've had. Now, can there be somebody out there that has the tools and the practice to blow their minds? Of course there is. There's always somebody out there, bigger, stronger, faster, better. Always. There's always somebody out there who's better than you. But if you have nothing to compare it to, if you have no idea that those people exist, at least sexually, who are you going to compare it to? All right. Let's get back to the video.
What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, I think if he knows what he's doing, he can make up for a lot.
Does size matter? That's what I'm asking.
No, if he knows what he's doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it matter if he's a misogynist?
Yes, I think you already know the answer to that question.
Actually.
There was a point of contention early in the video about misogyny. This is another one who throws a word out with no idea of what it means. It just sounds good. And as has been stated by King Richards and many other podcasts, that is a very dangerous thing to do. Because it doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't. And that's why he made that joke about a misogynist, because she was all in her feelings about how she feels that a guy says things that he could do because a man doesn't, and a woman just, that's misogynist. No, it's not. Misogyny is the hatred of women. Hatred. Meaning, I can't stand a woman. That is the definition of misogyny. The hatred of women. Its inverse is misandry, which is the hatred of men. And modern day feminism comes very close to misandry because they feel that there's nothing that a man can do that a woman can't also do. So why do we need them? Which is borderline misandry. Because if you don't need them, what kind of steps do you have to take to start saying, okay, if we don't need you, then let's get rid of them? It's a very, very slippery slope. But let's go on.
All right, cool. All right, did I ask you, does size matter? Because you talk about size 6 unpacking.
No, size doesn't matter. I think I'm
Talking to the mic.
I'm very much like a foreplay person, so as long as they know what they're doing prior, then I feel like no. Especially if they know how to use it, then no. I think it's fine.
What does it mean?
Why do they lie? Why? Because it's socially acceptable to do something? To make somebody feel better about themselves? Because that's why they do it. It's a simple, straightforward question. Does size matter? They want to say, yes, it does. But no, we can't do that. Because if we do that, somebody out there in Potland world might feel bad about it. So let's just be ambiguous and say it depends. It doesn't depend. You wouldn't like it.
You wouldn't know how to use it. So if a guy's got a 5-inch tool, yeah, and he knows how to use it, what is that like? The rhythm, the like, what's it? The hips, the dancer hips. What's it like? What is it like?
Just the whole, I don't know. Like some guys just think like just to bang the life out of a girl and just think that's what we want. It's not what we want.
Nobody ever said that. And again, answer the question.
Can you say that louder, please, for the people in the back?
Some guys think you can just, and that's just how we like it. It's not how we like it.
I think girls do like that, to be honest.
Why?
Yes, they do, bruv.
So you're just going to bang the life out of somebody.
Not the whole time, but, bruh, especially at to get to the finish line, bruv.
Yeah,
yes,
but
bruv.
then people will be doing that from the beginning, and it's like,
yeah,
well,
you
what's
gotta mix it
happening
up
here?
still.
Yeah.
He's right. He's absolutely right. Let's be real. Near the end, you tend to want to go faster so you can climax. In the beginning, you tend to go slower because you want to feel it. I find no fault in his logic.
Yeah, so there you go.
Like,
But that's
basically,
about
my
knowing how
thing
to
is
use
this,
it.
like, the whole bed, the girl's hair, everything, makeup should be all messed up, bruv, by the end, bruv.
All right, but you wouldn't start and
Every
just be
single
like
time.
this.
Or she's gonna cheat.
Do you get positive reviews?
Oh, yeah, I do,
Do
actually.
you?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Do you start like that?
Depends
All the
on
way through.
depends. No, not all the way through. Depends on the situation, innit?
Alright. What do you
Gotta
mean?
read the room, fam.
What do you mean by that situation?
You what?
What do you mean by the situation?
Like, obviously, there's certain times where you want a nice quickie, and then obviously you're not gonna do some love. Oh, let me love make for like 5-10 minutes. You're not gonna do that, bruv. You're just gonna
God forbid.
get in there. You gotta get this done, bruv.
Yeah, God forbid.
Again, he's right. I have nothing further to add to it.
God forbid.
Yeah.
I mean, certain times a quickie is what you need, bruv.
Yeah. What about?
And again, sometimes a quickie is what you need. And it's a trade-off. You give me this quickie now, and I promise I'll satisfy you later. But in the meantime, here's something for you to think about during the day.
I feel like not every girl you can do that on. Some girls, they have, like, their body's very delicate. You can't just hammer out every girl.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said at all. And I got news for you. A very, very uncomfortable truth for you. If a woman really wants it from a guy, and he's hanging and banging, I don't care how rough it gets, she won't only tolerate it, she'll beg for more, harder, faster. She will want more of it because she wants to show this guy, I can take it.
Some girls are very delicate, you know.
I guess I'm just lucky, aren't I?
Why?
Because I get the ones that do like to get hammered. Anyway, so moving on.
That's what you think.
Oh, I've got references.
All right, we'll talk.
All right. Big up to everybody that's watching. We're over 600. Make sure.
I had to stop it again because, once again, going back to How to Survive a Podcast, they're ad-libbing, they're over-talking, they're interjecting. Now, King Richards is being a sport about it, but he could at any moment stop the show and be like, look, guys, I told you, please, no ad-libbing, no over-talking, respect the platform. If there's one thing that a lot of these guys do that I don't like, is that there's no consistency in it. If you're gonna start saying, if at the very beginning you say, excuse me, respect the platform, and 2 minutes into the show, you start disrespecting the platform by over-libbing and ad-libbing, excuse me, and all that other stuff, and there's no pushback, that's when they get bold. That's when it escalates and turns into a situation that you're going to wind up having to kick someone off the show. If you stand firm from the beginning and consistently push through the narrative, look, guys, no over-talking the host, please. They'll get it. Anyways.
Make sure you hit the like button. Do not forget to do that. Yeah. All right. Next question, yeah? Women, would you lot agree that women sleep with who they want while men sleep with who they can?
Next example. Straightforward question. Do you believe that women sleep with who they want and men sleep who they can't? Spoiler alert. Yes, they do. To both of them. Women sleep with who they want and men sleep with who they can't. And that goes back to the different dynamics at play in a relationship and in the marketplace. A woman can sleep with anybody she chooses because she's inherently valued for her femininity. Men sleep with who they can because it is a battle for them to bed the people they want to bed. There's a double standard at play. Well, it's a double standard that women don't care to talk about because it benefits them. It's been said time and time again on this and other podcast. When women tend to be asked to go on super yachts, they get invited to VIP parties. They're always in the VIP section at parties. They go to clubs free. All these things that they do on a regular basis that they don't even think about because they don't have to think about it. It's automatically afforded to them. Guys in their hands, you better think about it. All right, I consider myself above average. There's better, there's worse. It is what it is. I consider myself above average. I do all right. If I was single and I went out with an average girl, plain Jane, and we went to a club, and we're in line, and we get up to the front. How much do you want to bet that she'd get him free and not have to pay? How much you want to bet? Don't bet against me or you're going to go broke. Women on a day-to-day basis can do so much. Let's look at affirmative action for a sec. It was originally put in place to even level out the playing field in the skin tone war, for lack of a better term. It was to equal out black and white workers in the labor force. It was then expanded to include women. We now got to a point that women are not only allowed, not only encouraged, they're even forced into positions that have been dominated by males for the longest time. And that can be a problem. I'm sure you heard the stories about women who failed an aptitude test. Now, aptitude tests are there to assess basic competency. If you can't do this, this job isn't for you. That's what they're for. If you can't do this, it's best that you rethink what you want to do with your life, because you ain't doing this. Not anymore. There's a story. I'm not sure where it comes from, so don't quote me on it. But I've heard stories where women plumbers have had hard times turning a wrench to tighten a nut. But they're passed, and they get the job. Now, if they come across that nut again during real-life travels and they can't do it, there's going to be problems. But no one's thinking about that. Just think about, I have diversified my labor force. Give me my pat on the back. I have women. I have minorities. And to that I say, yeah, but at what cost? Let's get back to it. Listen to some more.
Yeah.
What do you lot think of? What Miss Oceans? Oceans 11. What do you think?
Okay, so I feel like men actually.
I feel like. I swear I don't want to hear that anymore. Those 3 words, I feel like, are a floodgate to a woman's emotions. When you say those 3 words, I feel like, all logic, all reason, all statistics, all factual data points go out the window. They're no longer relevant. They no longer matter, so they no longer count.
Are the ones that get to choose because respectfully.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. No. Okay. So obviously women control the kitty box. So we say who goes in. But I feel like men, especially right now, are kind of holding the power because
What?
realistically, if
Yeah,
a
right
man
now.
doesn't want a female, you're not getting close to him.
But don't
Lies. Lies, 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 get out. Whoa.
you think like what you said initially? Women control if men get the kitty. Isn't that like the initial interaction though?
Men know
like
how
as
to-
in initially, because let's be real, more time men will approach women,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's usually women who have to accept the advance or decline the advance.
A woman can decline in advance, but if a man knows the right words to say and how to get into her mental state, then he's able to crack.
But isn't
You like how she did some mental jujitsu on it. King Richard says that a man has to approach a woman, so it's up to a woman to accept or decline that advance. And she said, "Yeah, but if you but it's up to the guy, then if he talks his way, has a good game, talk this, that, and the thing, he'll get in there whether she wants him there or not." Watch what is said next.
but isn't every woman different though? Or are you a monolith?
No, I actually do believe that everyone's different, but
So then there isn't just one set way that he could get every single woman. You'd have to be very fortunate to find the right woman that works with the right game.
but not every man's going to be the same because it sounds like we're
So what he's saying?
talking about one
It's-
man.
Yeah, you're right. Every man's not the same and every woman's not the same. Exactly.
But also, can I just say, not,
that didn't change nothing.
but
Good try though. Go on.
in which situation does a guy not want a woman though? Like I haven't really come across that.
There are men that generally are like holding themselves. It might be for religious reasons.
Okay, stop. I want to start a podcast school in which people come on, and they're taught the right and wrong things to do to survive the podcast experience. Because once again, Miss Whitetop, Ocean's 11, as King Richards put it, is going to a specific subset of people. And he stated before, it's valid because they do exist. But for the purposes of this discussion, they are irrelevant. That's not to outright dismiss them. Please, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying they don't count, they don't matter. I'm saying that while they do matter in a specific context, in the general sense of the term, they're not used. Because, as the saying goes, something isn't important right up to the point where it is.
Reasons it might be for the fact that basically they've decided that out there is just
I've just never
don't
in my
want
life
that.
come across a guy not even just towards me, but in life, that doesn't try it with somebody at some point.
To some
That's
degree,
unfortunate.
To some degree, right?
I feel like that's
he might
unfortunate
even
about the men that you're moving around.
even if it's a man he's not trying to beat, yeah, he might still be trying to look for a woman that he's gonna, this is gonna be my
Right.
wife,
Like
and I'm gonna talk to
position.
her, and we're just gonna hold hands, and that's all, bruv.
Nah.
Yeah.
No,
That must be the circle of men that you're moving around, because personally, I feel
Sign language. Shame and insult. More along the shame lines. That must be the type of guys that you circle around. No. That's the type of guys you hang around. That's the guys that you attract. Those are the guys that you can get. Has nothing to do with anybody else. Has nothing to do with anything. It's what you can get.
like-
absolutely not. That's the circle you're moving
No, I
around,
feel
because
like
you're the
there
one
are
that bringing
men-
up men that don't want to beat.
there are men that don't want to beat. For example,
Okay.
I grew up around like
So they don't talk to no
Men.
women. They don't try it with no women.
let me land. So there are men that
See? And the beautiful thing about this whole argument, we'll get back in a minute. The beautiful thing about this argument is that, as King Richard says, as Pearl would tell you, as Melanie King would tell you, as Anton Jannings would tell you, as MTR would tell you, as Donovan Sharp would tell you, as Fresh and Fit would tell you, as any podcast moderator / content creator would tell you. Do it enough times and patterns begin to emerge. And they do this consistently. To the point where nothing that is said by anybody is going to faze them, because they've heard it all. They've heard it 6 days a week and twice on Sundays for a period of weeks, a period of months, even in some cases a period of years. That's where generalizations come from. They come from the aggregate of a whole bunch of people espousing viewpoints on particular topics, and over time, they tend to coalesce around a specific point. So yeah, it can happen. It does happen. Yes, there are outliers. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, but they are they're exceptions and not rules. Let's get back to it.
that generally right now they're fasting. They ain't trying to be. That's the last thing from their mind. Also,
They're not fasting all year round, though, are they?
okay. So there are men also that are looking for a wife.
Anthony
They're
Joshua.
not trying. Okay, do you know what?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Don't ad lib when people talking. Go on.
There are men that generally aren't trying to be beaten around because maybe they did that a while ago and they realize that's not got them anywhere. One, a lot of men that I speak to, they will say women waste their time. Women take up their time where they could be putting it into
But
potentially
they've
bettering
probably
themselves.
already done it, though. They've actually done it.
I'm not saying they haven't, but I'm saying a lot of the men right now that I speak to,
A lot of men right now that she speaks to doesn't negate the fact that they probably have done it before. Again, the exceptions don't make the rule. Her case, they're bona fide, valued, but they are exceptions. They are special cases. They are outliers. against the total backdrop of people, the general sense, they don't matter because they're contrary. Yes, they matter in the specific term. Yes, they should be taken to advantage of. Excuse me. Yes, they should be treated with the respect that they earned, because yes, they actually happen. But no, they don't happen to a degree that warrants serious attention. And that's what generalization actually is. An anomaly, not anomaly, a phenomenon that garners sufficient attention. It has been brought to my attention because this amount of the population actually experiences it.
They may be holding themselves.
What do you think the percentage of men out there in our modern society don't want to smash?
I don't know, because I don't really do statistics.
Okay, well, of all the men that you've ever come across in your whole life.
Like I said, I don't do statistics.
Jesus Christ, you just not.
Translation. You're right. But you'll never hear from me that you're right. You're correct, but I won't give you the satisfaction of me acknowledging that you're correct and I'm wrong. So I'm not going to answer your question.
You just don't want to be real. It's fine.
No, I'm being real. I'm just declining to answer a certain question that I can't answer.
As an adult, you should be able to understand the world outside of yourself and understand that men do go to a lot of far lengths to try and get women.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Exactly.
I'm
So if you understand that would lend you to understand also that men are quite invested in trying to smash.
Which is why I said if a man knows exactly what to say or he knows how to go about it, he can get a woman. Which is why I said men control whether.
Watch what's said next. Pay very close attention to it.
He wants that woman or not.
Have you ever rejected a guy in your life?
Of course.
Have you ever rejected a guy who really tried hard to get you?
Yes.
Then what are you talking about?
Mic drop. Mic drop. See how easy it is for women to speak things from their point of view. And you see how hard it is to look at it from the opposite lens because, again, they don't have to. So they don't. You really want to make things better for both sexes? Women and men both need to listen to each other more. That's what will make things better. Listen. Stop talking, start listening. And listen to understand. Do not listen to react. Listen. Listen for comprehension. Listen to understand what the other person is saying.
What's your point? I don't get your point.
The point is you're saying if the man has the right game or the man says the right thing or blah blah blah, then he can get the woman he wants. That's not necessarily true.
Not all the time.
If a woman does not like a guy, it doesn't matter what he says.
I might.
And there it is. In plain, everyday English that even the most moronic of people can understand, and yet she still has something to say about it.
Rejected him the first time and then accepted him the second time.
Bruh.
Shoot her. Shoot her now. Bring the asteroid. Stick a fork in this species, they're done. And this is why humanity is fated for destruction. Because we've gotten to a point where we don't even listen to each other anymore. we're at the point now where you can say what you want. I know how I feel, and that's all that matters. No, that's not all that matters. That doesn't matter at all for the most point, because it comes from a place of emotion. While emotion is important, don't get it twisted. Emotion is important. Emotion has its place. But facts, but logic, but data, but statistics will always trump over feelings, over emotions. Reals over feels. You can believe what you want in your heart of hearts. But if it's based upon what makes you feel a certain way, whether it's good, bad, or different, doesn't take away from the fact that this is how it is. This is how the world operates. This is how things move. Send the asteroid. Let's listen to a little bit more, and then we'll go from there.
You're not real. I don't believe you, bro. I don't even. I think you're just trying to argue at this point.
I'm really not.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't believe you, and you're laughing. That's how I know you're chatting rubbish.
I always laugh.
All right, cool, whatever. All right, what do you think about it?
If we're talking percentages, I think men definitely beat who they can. Not only that, because like men get brownie points for the most girls that they can beat. So it's definitely the men that's out here trying to get whoever girl they can. Girls are
No. Men don't get brownie points. Women get brownie points. Men don't. You get who you can. We don't look for validation like that. And again shows you how delusional, how little our expenses are to women. Because that's how they look at things. Not how we look at things. Not how things are, but according to them.
on the other hand, they have more to lose when it comes to having sex with just anyone, because you can get pregnant, you can lose your reputation. So therefore, more women fuck who they want and not just who they can. So it's just basic knowledge. I don't know why we like try to overcomplicate simple things in my.
I don't know why either.
If we're talking, and maybe your experience, I don't want to take that away from you, but if we're talking like percentages and like what's happening in the real world, let's be real. Most men fuck who they can. Most men.
Do you agree with that?
I agree, yeah.
Why do you think she thinks different?
Because she's saying that it's not just black and white, but.
But what do you think?
I'm saying in general, though, it is actually the case.
What do you think?
I think I understand what she's saying, because I still have friends till now that are guys, they're in their 30s, they are really religious, and they still didn't have sex with a girl. They want to get married, they want to do it the halal way, because we just see the Western society, but then there is more than 20 Arab countries or 15 Arab countries or Muslim countries where they really practice. And because this thing is not allowed, and the people that are really religious, they really follow it, then we can't say everyone is like that.
No one's.
I was listening to this woman talk, and I noticed the African medallion on her. It doesn't discount anything that she says, but it does show where she's coming from. This whole conversation is built around Western beliefs, Western values. We're not looking at the Middle East or the Far East. We're not looking at Central and South America. We're looking at first world countries. That's what we're looking at.
Said everyone though.
Or no, we can't say even the majority because you haven't seen the majority. No one has seen the majority.
But
Yes, you can. And remember, the stats are based upon empirical, i.e., provable evidence. Now, you can question the source of the evidence. But you would find it very hard to question the outcome of that evidence. I've said it on many occasions. People have these polls, and it's like they didn't ask me, so how would they know how I feel? And that's valid. They wouldn't know how I feel because they didn't ask me, but it doesn't negate what was actually said in those polls. And in and of themselves, polls are not reliable because polls are inherently biased and they can be skewed to reflect the biases.
question was, would you agree that women sleep with who they want while men sleep with who they can?
Yeah,
that was the real question.
I agree, but I'm saying I understand what she was saying as well.
Why must you be so contrary? Why do you have to be so difficult? This is why when I think of having guests on the show and panelists on the show, I tend to think against it. And I go and I say, nah, never mind. You can ask a simple question and be flabbergasted by the inability of the panelists to answer that question. Every time. Again, there will be times where people will answer the question and you can have the debate trundle on with a minimum of interruptions and stuff like that. But that is a statistical insignificantly option. It doesn't happen very often. You didn't answer the question. You answered, I was speaking to her point. Then why don't you start with that? I'll answer your question in a minute, King Richards, but going back to what she says, blah, 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 or going back to her point. But no, you don't do that.
Answer couldn't.
But the really and truly, like, why are we gonna focus on just the religious people? We're gonna just talk in general.
Because there's a lot of religious.
Yeah, and there's a lot of everything, but you have to talk in general. You can't always think about the exceptions because exceptions don't make rules.
How many times is he gonna have to say that? How many times must we drive that point home? Yeah, but I think, no, don't think. Yeah, but I feel like, and don't feel like. Don't feel. Put your emotions to the sides for the hour, 2 hours, however long this podcast is going to be. Take your personal feelings out of it, unless they're specifically asked to be part of the conversation. If he says, in your opinion, what do you think about blah, 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 then I feel like, because that's valid. But if he says, do you believe, do you think, how do you, questions like that, those are binary. He's not asking for how you feel. He's asking a question looking for a specific answer, be it positive or negative. And if he needs to know why, he'll ask you why you feel that way. Or if you have a question from the audience, do you feel such, yes or no? And if so, why? Or do you feel about X, Y, Z, and why? That's not binary. They want to know how you feel. What made you come to that conclusion? Please let us know, because we want to hear it. Then the floodgates are open. By all means, have at it. You asked for it. But unless you get those type of questions, how you feel is irrelevant. We didn't ask you how you felt. We didn't ask you what you think about how she felt. We asked you, specifically you, a question. And we're looking for an answer, positive or negative. It's binary. Logic on, logic off. Yes, no. I don't understand how someone can hear a specific question, looking for a specific answer, and drive all around the houses, coming to an answer, conclusion that you didn't even have any question, any inkling on getting an answer to. What's 2 + 2? Jello. What does that have to do with the cost of tea in China? Good for you, but so what? Make it stop. All right, a little bit more.
Do you ever take medicine? Have you ever taken medicine in your life?
Yes.
Yeah. Like when they create a medicine, do you think they make that medicine specific to every exception? No. Or do you think they make it for to help the general people?
I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
No, I agree with
that's what I'm saying exactly. So like when people come and bring the exceptions, which are valid because they exist, but if you lived your life by exception, that's a very dangerous life to live. Yes, it is.
Very, very dangerous. Tell us why, King Richie. Tell us why.
Let me give you an example. You're shaking your head. Cool. Awesome. I love that. You're not the first one to do that. Yeah? Let me give you an example of why exceptions, you can't live by that. If you went into the jungle and you got out of the safari jeep and you petted a lion and it acted like a kitten, that's happened. That's lovely. You had a lovely experience with a lion. Oh, nice kitty. And the lion rolled over and you played in his belly. Does that mean every time you go in the jungle you should do that with every lion?
No, of course not.
And why is that?
Because they might bite you and scratch out your eye.
They might do more than that. They might eat you. More than likely, they would eat you, right?
But do you see?
And she still and she still says, "But you no, no, no." Just no. Stop. Just stop. I'm going to use that analogy. I've used it before, and I'm going to use it up because that is so on point. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. You can go into the forest, in the jungle, get out of safari, walk up to a lion, and begin to attempt to pet it. You can do that. But based upon the probability of the lion jumping up and eating you, doesn't mean that you should. As a matter of fact, the opposite is true. You shouldn't, because the lion can eat you. Again, there can be a case where the lion will act kittenish. You've seen stories on the news, on TikTok, on social media, this, that, and the other thing, of big cats acting like kittens. And then and the person that raised the cat sets the cat free, and then a number of years later comes back and the cat remembers him. And you can see the instances with a cat who on his hind legs tower over the human, got their paws over their shoulders, and they're licking them and they're loving on them. And it's like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. Yes, they happen. But do they happen regularly? That's the question that you need to ask. Do they happen regularly? Does it happen enough that someone might say, hey, we want to look into that? I'm going to say no. No, they don't. Because they don't. King Richards is likes to say, live your movie. Don't live your movie. You can live your movie, but you shouldn't, because it doesn't mean that you should. Because somebody, and more often than not, you specifically, will be hurt by the consequences of the decision to live your life, to live your movie. You feed into it. You feed into the dilemma. Live your movie, man. No, you shouldn't. Don't. Because if your movie includes delusion, why did you live that way? When we're fighting, we're doing all this work. We're doing all this work. We're putting in countless hours on video, doing research behind the scenes, this, that, and the third. All this stuff to try and get you to think a different way. Why should we say in the end, live your movie? Because you're going to. All that's well and good, but I don't live my movie, so forget about it. So why tell them that? Why? Because to do that, you'd be lying. Lying to the very people that you sworn to educate. Lying to the very people who you said you want to make better. Why? If you don't want to make them better, if you do want to make them better, why lie to them? Because you just defeated the purpose of the conversation. That's the same as the famous but thing. I can see what you're saying, but okay, forget it. Everything that you said beforehand, throw it out the window. I understand what you're saying, but I feel like, nope, okay, you don't believe it. So it gets tossed. It's ejected. Why are you always lying? Ladies and gentlemen, we need to do better. We just do. So much potential is squandered. So much possibility is wasted because we don't do what we need to do to become better versions of ourselves. We just don't. That'll do it for this episode of From the Soapbox. Do those 5 things. Encourage your friends to do those 5 things. Like, comment, subscribe, notify, share. Especially like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you just do one, like it. If you got 1,000 people that view your video and only 45 like it, how are we supposed to know what you like? Because you get a lot of like out of people that have watched something and have no say at all either way on whether they like it or not. They just watch it. And I'm asking, why do that? If you watch the video to the end, like you've done now, for those who have stayed to the end to watch this video, like it. Hell, dislike it. Although, if you watched it to the end, it's more that you liked it than disliked it. It's the simplest thing to do, and I cannot say this enough. I don't know. I can shout it from the rooftops and it wouldn't be enough. It's free. Don't cost you nothing. It takes a second to either thumbs up or thumbs down. Takes a second. It's the simplest yet one of the most effective ways for YouTube and its algorithms to push content to more people. And again, don't cost nothing. If you do like it, if you do all those things, we asked you the rule of 5, if you do all those things, and you do love and support us, why not do a donation? Every little bit helps. $1 helps. Because none of this stuff is free. It costs money. Even something as small as my podcast, it costs money to do that. And I have dreams and goals of making it bigger. And those donations will help make that a reality. Because with those donations, we can buy bigger and better cameras. We can buy green screen backdrops. We can buy better microphones. We can buy better computers. We can buy bigger and better furniture. The infrastructure, the bones for a good studio are in place. And we're doing the best we can with the tools we got. Unfortunately, the tools that we got aren't very good. And hey, that's on us. I'll be the first to admit it. But I'm asking you, if you really want to rock with us, if you really want to support us, if you're really down with the program, if you do love and support us, throw in $1. $19 a month is the cost of a cup of coffee a day. And most of you get 2 and 3 cups a day. So would it hurt to cut back on a cup of coffee a day? Not really. Consider it. That's all I ask. That's all we ask. Help us to help you. We will continue bringing you this kind of content. We will continue attempting to elevate you into being the best versions of yourself that you can be. We want to see you thrive. We want to see you do better. We want you to sparkle. Because when you do, our job is done. We can say, I helped do that. I helped make that. I helped mold that. And by your donations, you can see the same thing to us. I helped build that. I helped to create that. I helped to further their cause. Because I love what they do. And speaking of loving what they do, comment. I was watching this show the other day, and a thought came to my mind. So you get your computer and you say, hey guys, how do you feel about XXXXXX? We read it. Oh, that's a good idea. Hey fellas, why don't we do a show about this? And we'll put your name out there. Say, well, so and so had an idea, and we wanted to expand upon it. Here's our take on it. That's how we give back. Because we hear what you say, and we know that by enacting on what you say, it helps everybody. So please, help out. Do what you can. Even if it is just clicking the like button. And with that, OBJ's here. We're going to close it out by saying Enjoy your day. Be safe. And keep it moving. Keep it jazzy, y'all. Peace.